and I had to restart it. So today we're doing something a little bit differently. I wanted to get away from drawing for a little bit. We're going to do a little clay figure. Get a little 3D with it today. Hope you guys are all staying safe and being healthy. I'd say it's been a quiet week except for the dogs. The squirrels have been out like crazy lately. Yesterday it was like incredible how many different squirrels were around. So I got a very bare bones start right now. A little bit of a body. I'll do something kind of fun and original. I'm using a Sculpey clay, which is an oven baked clay. You make whatever you want. Put it on some aluminum foil, pop it in the oven, follow the baking directions, and you get these nice little sculptures. There's other kinds of oven baked clay out there. I find Sculpey is probably one of the better materials to use. It can get a little costly depending on what kind you get. The white Sculpey is a little bit of a cheaper. You can buy more of it for greater value. But they do have the very cool, kind of creamy looking. So that's really fun for if you're not planning on painting it and you want to have almost like a skin tone. And it does come in other colors, and you can mix those colors. People use it a lot for like making beads and stuff, but I've always really just made little figures out of them. We're going to create a little canine kind of creature. Fox inspired. Now Sculpey's nice because it can last a long time. It can get a little bit tough to work with when it's been left alone for a while, especially if it gets cold, but usually the heat of your hands is enough to warm it up and get it soft again. Let's get a little tail on him for balance at least. I used to do a lot of Sculpey stuff at my previous school because we didn't have a ceramics class or a kiln or any kind of access to one really, unless you wanted to put everything in the car and take it over to one of the elementary schools and use their kiln. But that's just asking for things to break on the way, and it just was going to be more of a hassle. So when I wanted to do a little clay project, pull out either some air dry clay or much better Sculpey. course, that meant we were just making tiny things, and they always ended up in my car, coming home and baking in the oven. Little clay figures all over the kitchen for a while. Okay. So here's our starting shape. I'm just going to make him sit for now to make it easier to work on his face. So I got a bunch of different things to work with. I've got some of your more traditional clay tools. This one's a nice one. It's got a little bit of a rubber end to it. Makes it a little flexible. Nice for the Sculpey. And then this awesome tool that was a gift, which has a little magnet in the end, and you can actually switch out a bunch of different tools. So you can go in and use one, and then if you need another one for detail, you switch it for the other ones. Really fun little, comes with our handy little stand here and everything. Let's put that right in the corner. All right. Start with some eyes. So I usually create the eyeball first, not always a perfect circle. So it's not quite like doll making. I'm not sticking a bead into his head. I just want to get something in there to help create a rounded shape. So what we're creating now is the eyelid. And this will help start to give him a little bit of an expression. And the trick is to try and keep this little bit of an edge here, because that really helps to give it an eyelid feel, and then you smooth out the rest of it into the rest of the face. So last night's activity was watching a ridiculous, scary movie. Probably the highlight of it, though, was when my dog started dreaming. Wesker started dreaming. And any of you who have dogs probably have heard this happen before, but for those who don't, when dogs dream and they get all twitchy, they don't just start barking and howling. They will bark, but since they're asleep, they're not exactly opening their mouths. So you get this really adorable muffled little and it's so cute. I mean, it's ridiculously cute. But the puppy doesn't always understand what's going on. And he'll hear him start bark. He'll hear Wesker, the older one, start barking in his sleep. And he will come running over and looking at him like, what is happening? What's going on? Sometimes he'll just go right to the door or window thinking, oh, he must have seen a squirrel. I better go check it out. And there's nothing there. All right. Eyes achieved. So now I'm gonna build out the rest of his face a bit. So you don't want the eyes to be bugging out. He's gonna have a bit of a multi-animal look to him, guys. He's gonna have a little bit of little fox. He's got his big ears, so he's a little bit bunny rabbit. But we're just gonna have a little fun with it and just kind of keep adding. Haven't decided quite yet. You guys can give me some suggestions, maybe. Horns, wings, antlers. So we're just adding that there so that the forehead sticks out just a little bit more than the eyes do. I think we need to add a little bit more down the middle too. A little better nose. Yeah, he is a little bit fennec, isn't he? Those big ears. I love a fennec fox. We have a festival in kind of mid-June, which is kind of our 4th of July festival in Canton. And one year they had like a wild animal, not exactly petting zoo, but they brought in like a bunch of different, critters that you normally don't see around here. And they had a fennec. And apparently at one point earlier in the day, you could go in and you could pet the fennec. And it was so sad that I didn't get to do it. It was too late. They're like, nope, we're closing down. The animals are tired. They're going to bed. And I was like, no, but I want to hold the fox. Super cute creature. we finish building it today, it'll probably have to bake overnight. If I don't finish it this morning, there's a chance I might try to do a little bit of a stream later today if I can get my homework done. I've got this is the 4th week of my current class, which means we kind of have a midterm project, kind of like having an assessment in the middle of a marking period. So if I get that done a little early during my scheduled homework time, then I will sneak on and do a little more streaming. So if this gets finished in our hour here, I'll be able to bake it, and then I can do some decorating and painting in the later stream. Otherwise, I'll bring him back and keep working on him then. We'll see. It's Friday. We can be a little casual on Friday. Tea break. Today's tea flavor is cinnamon. Got a lot of different flavors of tea. We need it. We need it in the apocalypse to have a variety of tea flavors. It's not really the apocalypse. We're gonna make it through. At least it's not zombies. We'd be ready for that, though. I got duct tape. You'd be ready for zombies. Alright, so we do eyes, then forehead, then get some of the face filled out. Now we're gonna get the snoot. The snoot. So we're gonna add a little chin on here. Now it looks like he's pouting. Look at that face. Now we gotta build up around the nose a little bit. It's hard to switch over to the left hand using a tool. It's not so bad just using my hands, but holding anything like a pencil takes so much practice. You could use beads and such in the eyes. The only thing you'd have to be careful of is you'd want to make sure that they're the kind of beads that can withstand heat. So something like glass, probably, because you do have to bake this clay. So unless you did it like in pieces and then you could insert the eyes later, you could use something like a plastic bead, but most of it would end up just melting. But it's pretty easy to paint afterwards, so you could paint the eyes whatever color you like. Although if you had like a really nice glass bead, that could be cool. I haven't ever tried it. Most of the beads that I have were kind of like inherited, given by like, usually get them from my mom. So she's like, oh, I've got all these extra beads from this project. I don't need them anymore. Or just, you know, gathered from other projects that I've done. Oh, he's got a tiny little bit of an opening there. That's perfect. That's a bit much. I just want to add a little bit to the nose just to get it a little bit bigger, and then we'll worry about forming the nostrils and such. That's the sound of whisker passing through. His face isn't almost long enough now to be a fox. We'd almost need to stretch him out a little bit. He's a little bit cat-like. That's alright. He cute. We want to go with cute. Creating a little deeper opening in the ear. Alright, so now that we've got the face pretty well done, just kind of checking for where we can smooth it out better. This neck's a little thin at this point, we'll have to add to it. Now the nice thing about Sculpey that's different from clay that you might use in a ceramics class, that you have to do scoring and get it wet and really try to almost melt the added pieces together. Sculpey will do that. It will do its own little melting in the baking process, and as long as it's not too thick, you usually don't have too much trouble. Something like this, I don't have to worry about any kind of the pieces falling off. If it was much bigger though, we'd have to start either supporting it with something. You can always use things like aluminum foil to make a base and form around it. Or use the aluminum foil to make something to help prop it up. Alright, we won't worry too much about all the smoothing yet, since we still have more details to add. Let's get you a little bit back on your feet here. Oh yeah, we're definitely making paws. What kind of paws, though, is still up for debate. I mean, he's already pretty cute, but do we want to add a little ferociousness to him? Alright, now that we had him sitting, all these other pieces falling off, because I moved them. So when your clay kind of stiffens up, you just gotta work it a little bit with your hands. Soften it back up. Alright, he's on his feet. Tilt his head up a little bit so he stands up a bit straighter. Okay. Alright, for this, let's get So I'm going to pinch out a little bit of the clay so we get a bit more of a foot shape. And then we use this tool to press in and kind of separate out our toes. Although doing it this way, we end up getting more like fingers. Which might be a little too weird on our little fox guy. So let's try this instead. We're going to take some of that clay off. So the difference for this, rather than separating the clay, is you get a much more natural, kind of rounded animal toe shape. That's a little big. Tiny pinch. Here we go, little tiptoes. All right, round two. So I'm thinking he's going to need to have wings, because why not? What kind of wings do you guys in the chat think he should have? We can do feather wings. We can do dragon wings, like a bat. Could do butterfly wings. Might mean having some different materials. Kenneth, we're working with Sculpey clay. Where's the box? Ooh. See if I can sneak that in there. Big box. The original Sculpey clay. Ooh, little fairy wings. So fairy wings would be kind of like little butterfly wings, huh? We might have to get some fun materials to do that then. Fairy wings are super delicate. But I agree, he'd be pretty cute with some little fairy wings. All right. So that looks pretty good on those paws. Let's get toes ready for the rest of that. What about his tail, guys? Should he just have a little bushy foxy tail, or should we give him something a little different? Could give him like a Chinese kind of dragon tail, where it's real long and then has the little fur at the end. That might be fun. Make it big like a squirrel tail. I'll have to show you, Kenneth. I actually, a couple of years ago, made a little tricot sculpture for my sister for her Christmas present. I think my favorite part was I waited until she was in the middle of a video game, and I snuck the sculpture out onto the kitchen table, and I'm working on it, and she has no clue that that's what I'm doing because she was absorbed in her game. Anytime she started to move or ask a question, I was like, quick, might have to duck it underneath the table. When I gave it to her, I had like put holes in the box. And I was handling it like there was a live animal inside. My mom almost had a fit, like thinking that I had gotten another animal, despite us having the two dogs. But it was a sculpture. Surprise. Actually, I had a lot of fun doing the tricot one because I was using some felt that I kind of, it's like, you know, it comes in a square fabric, and I ended up kind of ripping it apart to make all these little felt pieces, and then glued them onto the sculpture to give it like a fur effect, and it came out pretty sweet. So maybe we'll think about doing that on this little guy. I know I've got some brownish felt, so it's definitely more of a fennec color than it would be a red fox color, but we'll see. It might depend on how much of that I have. There we go. I'm definitely a fan of the idea of giving it a longer tail, so we're just gonna... Oops, sorry, dude. Pop that right off ya. Okay. That's a sticker from yesterday's. No screen tones on the clay pieces, please. Sorry, it's a little hard to see. I'm trying to smooth out the tail. Make sure it's attached all the way around. So the rubber tools are good for moving clay around. But because the rubber can get warm, it can sometimes cause the clay to stick a little bit, which you don't really want when you're trying to smooth. So that's why I keep switching between them. The wood tool is a little better for smoothing. The best, of course, is the metal tool, because the metal tool tends to stay a lot cooler. Look at that tail, yes. We'll figure out tail positioning later. It's just gonna keep moving around behind him as we go. Alright, he's got paws. He's got a super cute face, but now I want to start adding more fun stuff. So right now I'm drawing out a little antler shape. Because antlers are cool. And my little guy is going to have antlers. Sounds like Wiley's out there talking to his girlfriend. Sadie the Dalmatian that we met the other day on our walk. So this is actually almost resembling a mythical creature called a Warpletinger, or Warpletinger. A Warpletinger is a rabbit. It has antlers, like a deer. It has wings, bird wings, feathery wings. But instead of like a usual kind of rabbit buck teeth, it can have like fangs in some versions. So this is looking a little bit like that. Not that I'm even mad about that though, because Warpletingers are really sweet. I encourage you to go Google them. Don't ask me to spell it right now, though. Sculpting. And of course, none of that, they're on there. And even though we traced them, they still don't always come up exactly the same. So, time for tiny adjustments. Might have to let them sit for a little bit, because once the clay has gotten this warm, it's almost harder to sculpt it just because it's so soft. So we might give the horns a little bit. Oh, you did Google it? Yeah, they're cool little critters. Any kind of call them like a chimera creature, creatures that have multiple animal characteristics. So even like Pegasus is kind of a chimera type creature since it's a horse and a bird. Alright, I think other than just some smoothing, he's pretty good. So unless I decide to change some stuff, maybe give him some scales or something. We'll see. So, we'll save him for now. It's 11 o'clock anyway. It's pretty good in our little hour. So again, might be sneaking on later today. Maybe work on him. I'm going to let him cool off a little bit so that he's a little bit stronger for me to play with and do all the smoothing and such. And then maybe work on some other stuff this afternoon too. Otherwise, if I'm not able to get on like I want to later, I will be back doing more streaming next week at 10, of course. But we'll see. If I get enough time over the weekend, maybe I'll sneak on and do some more stuff for fun there. So let's go and do our traditional hunt of the dogs. And, oh, let me show you first. Where's Trico? There he is. So this is a clay little sculpture. There we go. There's the claws, close up on the feet. So you can see where I used the felt to give him the fur. I got some feathers to actually use in the wings. Came out pretty sweet. So he hangs out on our little shelf up here. There it goes. Focus camera. Alright. Let's hunt down the dogs. Thought I heard Wesker come through. Oh goodness, look at this. Say hi, Wesker. He's a tired boy. He's your old man. He's shedding like crazy though. Look at that. Make me vacuum later. Oh, looking so noble. And then baby's out guarding the backyard. Hi, Wally. Say bye to everybody. If I'm able to stream this afternoon, we're looking at probably somewhere between 3 and 4. So it might start at 3, might start at 4. I'll know a little bit better depending on when I get my homework done. But I will put it on the Google Classroom. I will tweet it and Instagram it and everything else. So you guys will get a little info. Uh-oh, there he goes. He's off. All right, talk to you later, guys. Have a great Friday, a great weekend. If I don't get a chance to chat with you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.